Good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this really interesting webinar today about Chile and whether Chile can deliver its full renewable hydrogen potential or green hydrogen potential. And as you know, if you've been following Chile at all, Chile is one of the countries with the most renewable energy potential probably in the world. And coming from a situation of almost absolute energy dependence not very long ago, I'm talking about little more than a decade ago, Chile has managed to build a really incredible portfolio of renewable energy assets. And in the future certainly looks very renewable, very green, and very promising for Chile. A few years ago, Chile has decided as well that renewable hydrogen was one of the main strategic points in their future, and hence has devoted a lot of effort towards building a very clear hydrogen route that they're hoping to follow to create an industry that not only can decarbonize their own industry, their own systems internally, but also can be exported externally and become another export that they have and that they can provide to other countries, becoming pretty much what will be a huge vector of decarbonization for the whole world. But of course, these are incredible plans, and Chile has all the renewable potential in the world and a lot of other assets. However, the challenge is not small, as we all know. There is a lot of challenges that are now on the way to get in there, to get into this huge renewable hydrogen potential. And we're here today to talk about how Chile can manage all those challenges, how they are preparing their systems, their strategies, their procedures to make sure that they can, and they're in the situation where the industry can build fast, can be cost competitively, all of this infrastructure that is required in order to become both a decarbonized local consumer and also a foreign consumer. So with me today, I have three super cool speakers that know a lot about this topic and that I hope that you really enjoy listening from, because I certainly enjoy learning from. And I'd like to ask them to introduce themselves in case you don't know them, that you'll get to know them today. So first, please, Ana Maria, can you please introduce yourself briefly for those who may not know you? Can you just, the mute button, please? Hang on. Yeah, go for it.
Thank you, Belen. Good morning, good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for your attendance. My name is Ana Maria Ruz. I'm the director of the Chilean Green Hydrogen Committee of Carrefour.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So Ana Maria's had a lot of hand in all of the stuff that is surrounding hydrogen, and we'll hear from her about what they've been doing from the government. Next, I'd like to ask Marcelo, please, to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Belen. First of all, yes, we can deliver. We are going to talk about this, but first of all, I am Marcelo Villagrán. I am the Trade Commissioner of Chile to the Netherlands. I am based in The Hague, and from here also leading the green hydrogen strategy in Europe.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Marcelo. Welcome. And last but certainly not least, I'd like to welcome Ricardo. Please, could you introduce yourself, Ricardo?
Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. And my name is Ricardo Rodríguez. I'm Head of Studies at the H2 Chile, the Chilean Association of Hydrogen, located here in Santiago, Chile.
Thank you very much. So as you can see, we have like two different stakeholders in the government, but also a stakeholder in the industry that is looking at developing hydrogen assets in Chile. And I have to say before we start, first of all, welcome everyone. I see there are people from all over the world pretty much, and I'd like to give a very special welcome to a very good friend of mine, Fred, who has been actually signing into all of the webinars we've done for Chile. And this one is finally in English. So very welcome. And I hope that you enjoy this webinar very much. And essentially, before we start, I wanted to caveat a couple of things just to make sure that you understand where we're coming from. As you know, I don't know if you're aware at all, if you're like a first time, you're interested in yourself in Chile, but the bottom line, there has been quite a lot of political transition, let's say, in Chile in the past few years. And recently there has been a new constitution written that was not approved by the people in a referendum. Hence, there is still the transition ongoing as to how this constitution will look and how this will affect other things. It's clearly, as in many other countries, the case where, we don't have the absolute political answers of what is going to happen and why. And it's not like we want to treat like the elephant in the room, that we are like avoiding conversation about it. But the truth is, we don't have the answers in regards to the political transition, and therefore we are not really going to talk about this issue particularly. What we are going to do is, however, talk about the actual regulations that are changing, the actual procedures where the government is working on to actually make a difference and to make it easy for industries to move forward faster. These are the things that we're going to focus on the day-to-day, on working with industry, and on making sure that the hydrogen industry is growing fast and is having essentially challenges removed, so to speak. So this is why we're here today. Okay, so without further ado, just a couple of things. I wanted to say, you guys, to send questions, you can send questions anytime. However, we will take them from about maybe the last 20 minutes of this 1 hour session. And you can send them through the Q&A box at the bottom, okay? Please use the chat just to introduce yourself and to chat with us so that other people can know who you are, but use the Q&A for that. And just one reminder, we are recording this session and you are welcome to watch it whenever you like, okay? And also you will have access to the materials that you're going to see on screen today in case you want to share them with your colleagues. So without further ado, I'd like to ask for the first panelist of today, Ana Maria, to give her introductory presentation. It's going to be just a few minutes for you to have a little bit of context, and then we'll go into the debate. Go right ahead, Ana Maria.
Thank you, Belen. I'm sharing my screen.
Yeah, we can see it. Can you just put it in yeah, perfect. Go right ahead.
Okay.
Yes, perfect.
Okay, thank you very much for your attendance. Corfo is the National Economic Development Agency, depending of the Ministry of Economy. So our focus is to work in green hydrogen, but with a special focus in the industrial development. The three pillars that we have as Corfo for management 2022 to 26 are financing for development, entrepreneurship, innovation and development, and new industries. Activities of Corfo in green hydrogen or in hydrogen are not recently. We start on 2017 until now. This is a very short Gantt about what we have did from then until now. As probably you know, we have a national green hydrogen strategy that was launched on November 2020 by the Minister of Energy. And here I show you the ambition. Is a very important ambition with the key KPI for 2025 and KPI for 2030. One of the most relevant thinking from Corfo is the challenge of having 25 gigawatts of electrolysis installed or in development by 2030. That is 8 years more, so it's a large ambitions. And considering than the goal of Europe Union is 40 gigawatts. So it's a very important goal for us. And also talking in economical ambitions, the $5 billion of investment that is very relevant for us. That is the dream. Now, for getting that, we as Corfo have created the Committee for the Development of Green Hydrogen Industry. The objective of the new committee is accelerate the sustainable development of the green hydrogen industry and its derivatives. It's this committee has an interministerial council with 11 ministers and the vice president of Corfo. So it's a high level with the focus of coordinate all the public sector in order to go ahead with our ambition. We work in the framework of the national strategy, as shown before, the decarbonization commitments that we have as country, the promotion of productive transformation, and a new, more sustainable and knowledge-intensive development model. The committee is, the president of this committee is the Minister of Energy, and with the participation of the other ministers. The stage that we have ahead are first, the decarbonization of local energy demand, thinking in social issues, in the, getting that the hydrogen could be close to the people, to the society first, and then to use the green hydrogen and derivatives in the local industry and the large consumers of energy in the country, and then to go to the large project for exporting green hydrogen to international markets. On 2021, we, as Corp, we launched the first industrial scale green hydrogen plants, the call for the first industrial scale green hydrogen plants. It was a subsidy of $50 million, and with the requirement that those plants must be operating by December 2025. And the subsidy operate below a form of reimbursement. Here you can see we received 10 projects from 10 companies, and we select 6 that you can see here, 2 in the north, 3 in the center of the country, and 1 in the Patagonia area. We are very happy with this call because we have a mix of well-distributed projects along the country. We have a mix of national companies and international companies, and also we have a very good mix of application. The first one, the project HIEX of ENGIE in Antofagasta region. The idea is to produce ammonia, and NIX is the national explosive company that sell the explosive to the mining companies. So the idea is not to import ammonia, is to produce ammonia here in the country and use it for the mining companies. Also, in the second phase of this project, the idea is also to export ammonia to other countries. Liquid is a project also in Antofagasta area. The project is called AMER, and the idea is to produce e-methanol for exportation. GNL Quinteros is a project in the Valparaiso region, and the idea of this project is to sell the hydrogen to the local companies in the Quintero Bay or close to Valparaiso. Linde also applied to our call with a project for supplying green hydrogen to refineries of INAP. This is the National Petroleum Company located in Valparaiso. CAP is the National Steel Company, and the idea of them is to use the steel in Huachipato, where in the Siderúrgica Huachipato located in Biobío region. And the last, but not the less important by that, is INEL. Faro del Sur is 240 megawatts of capacity, electrolysis capacity for providing hydrogen to HIF project. HIF project is a well-known project located in close to Punta Arenas in Magallanes for exporting e-fuels to Europe, Germany especially. Also share with you this other action that we did 2021 and 2022. We end this project on last August. It's a fund for development in transition Chile, European Union. It was 0.3 million euros. And we did the feasibility study for these 7 projects. They are also distributed along country. Cerro Dominador is the CSP power plant. They were interested in looking alternatives for selling the energy as green hydrogen. And Tuco is the development company also in Antofagasta. The idea is to produce green hydrogen for thermal power generation plants close to Mejillones Bay. And the other one is Statkraft for producing also ammonia for exportation. CVE is a French company that has a lot of PV plant, small or medium-sized plants, and they were interested on using their vertimento, the energy that they cannot sell through the transmission lines, and the possibility to have their plants as having two products, energy or green hydrogen, depending on the cost or opportunity in both markets. RWE is the German utility, the large German utility, with a project in Magallanes for producing ammonia. Free Power is a national company also looking for producing ammonia in the Patagonia, and MOWI is a Norwegian company producing salmon. They want to replace the diesel in the farming of salmon by hydrogen. Also, for us, it's very important to work in the territory. The projects are going to be in the territory, so we are supporting this project in Magallanes, looking for using the wind energy generation there. We have also petrochemical industrial there, so we have the knowledge and the people there that know how to deal with these new e-fuels. We have infrastructure also, and we have also very important incentives related to be an extreme zone. And we hope to have their development of a kind of hydrogen valley there. Finally, just to share with you some challenges that we have, a really green hydrogen industry able to compete with fossil fuels and the highest international standards with broad social participation. That is very important for us, especially in the region of Magallanes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ana Maria. That's an excellent introduction of all the projects. As you can see, there is a lot going on already, different kinds of projects, in different parts of the Chilean geography where there is different potential in terms of wind, solar. So thank you very much, Ana Maria. Now, Marcelo, if you're going to go for it and show your presentation. And please keep sending your questions through the Q&A box just to make sure we can manage them properly thereafter. Okay, we'll see. Can you just put that in large scale?
Yes, wait a second. Now?
Yes, go right ahead.
Perfect, thank you very much. You have seen all the companies there, international companies, they are already working in Chile, not only in the green hydrogen industry, also in the renewable industry. And this is why we have the best potential to be a good player in this industry. My name is Marcelo Villagrán. As I told you before, I am working as trade commissioner here in the Netherlands, but I am also leading the Chilean efforts in Europe to promote the new green hydrogen industry. My agency is called ProChile. ProChile is the Chilean Export Promotion Agency. Our mission is to contribute for the sustainable development of Chile through the internalization of Chilean companies and the promotion of goods and services. We have 16 offices in Chile, one in each region, and also 56 offices around the world. This is really important because we are really good connected and we are a kind of bridge to bring opportunities to Chile. We connect people, and this is why we are really happy to be part of this new industry. You know, Chile needs the world, but it's really amazing that now the world needs also Chile. And this is why we are now part of the solution and not only part of the problem. We are really proud of that. We are going to work really close with other countries and with other continents in fighting the climate change in order to achieve our goals, climate goals. But it is important to understand that we are not alone. We are working together with several countries because this is a new industry, not only for Chile, it's a new industry for the world. Sometimes you see the numbers and you see the goals, not only our strategy, other strategies, and you see, yeah, it's not going to happen. It's really impossible. But it's not only impossible for us, and this is why I am really confident and I am really happy to be part of this industry, this clean industry that can give us as a country really good things. We have already more than 60 projects in Chile, and obviously we have the mining there. This is why we think that we are going to develop local demand, and the mining industry is going to help us to that. The wind and the potential of the solar in the north is really amazing. The capacity factors for our solar radiation in the north is just the best of the world, and in the south we have strong winds, better than the offshore winds in the north of Europe. This is why we are going to achieve really competitive prices, and as you can see on the right, we have already 4 hubs, kind of hydrogen regions, where this industry is developing now. We have in the Atacama Desert in the north, the Antofagasta regions, where we are going to have a really competitive hub in the future. But the strong winds of the south of Chile, in the beautiful Patagonia, is going also to be really competitive because of the capacity factor of the windmills. I think that we are going to start maybe exporting from there. This is really amazing what is going on there. You have already seen some of the projects that we are developing there. HIF is one of them, and it's going to start producing this year, maybe in November. They are going to inaugurate the plant. And we have also 2 hubs, industrial hubs in the middle of the country, one in Valparaiso in the central region, and one a little bit in south in Biobío. We are really confident that this is going to start a new form of projects, because we have this fair social ecological transition. This is something that is not only saying in Chile. We have heard about this transition also in Europe and other countries. It is important to build a competitive and sustainable green hydrogen industry, not only to make business on that, not only to take care about the production of some new fuel, green fuel. We are also taking care about the communities, taking care about what is going to happen in these industrial areas, because we need to do it together. We need to do it together as a country. This is something beautiful, because we are reaching our common climate goals, and also we are going to establish a new industry. Obviously, this is good for the people, good for the country, but we need to do it well. This time we need to prepare the structure to communicate the projects, to work together with the communities, with the people on site, with the local government, with the local authorities, in order to build a really competitive and sustainable industry. This is why we are really confident. We are talking about renewables, but we started with the renewable industry a time ago with several challenges, also with difficulties, because we thought, yeah, it's not going to happen, it's too expensive, the technology is not really there. And as you can see, we are working on that. We are growing every year, we are growing very fast, but it's much to do. We need to defeat fossil fuels and to go away from the coal power plants. This is what is going on right now in Chile. The price is really competitive right now. This is actually something that is happening in Chile. It's not the future. We are not talking about the price in 10 or 5 years. We are talking about the prices that we have and we have seen in Chile the last years. This is what we think, that if we have a really competitive electricity price, we are going to achieve also a really competitive hydrogen price. This is the strategy. I'm not going to talk about the strategy again, but if we have these really competitive goals and really aggressive goals, it's because the world is also doing the same. I think that without these goals, this industry is not going to reach the goals for 2050. We have a really aggressive strategy, because the world are demanding this strategy. And maybe, as occurred in our renewable strategy, we are going to see that the targets that we thought in 2020 are going to be different in this year or maybe next year. The technology is there. We think that all the countries are putting a lot of money on the table to achieve the goals. And if we are going to work together on this, the goals that we have put into our strategy are going to be achieved. This is what the strategy covered. As you can see, we have several challenges, not only the permit challenges that we are going to talk about, this is also really important for us to take care about human capital, to take care about the infrastructure. We used to import energy. We don't have actually any experience of exporting energy, fossil fuels. We don't have it. We have a really a little bit, and we use it in the country. We used to import ammonia, and now we have the possibility to export ammonia. These are really amazing and really difficult challenges. I am not saying that it's going to be easy, but I really confident on my people, on my country. We think that together, if we are really convinced on this change, we are going to do it. I think that in this moment, we are not working alone on that. The other countries know that they need actually import the energy from countries like Chile, because they are not going to produce enough hydrogen or carriers, other carriers, green carriers. They are not going to also achieve the prices that we are going to achieve. And if the Europeans are buying our apples, why not we are going to also export in the future ammonia, methanol, and why not also liquid hydrogen? This is from my side, Belen. Obviously open to discuss about the questions that you may have, and to give my opinion also in the difficulties that these industries give to us.
Yeah, we will get there. Thank you very much, Marcelo. Very, very great presentation. Also giving you an idea about the main things to look out for too. So Ricardo, last but certainly not least, if you can please share your presentation, and then we'll take your questions. Just a reminder to set them through the bottom, through the Q&A at the bottom, because I see a lot of questions you're sending through the chat, but they're getting lost in there. So please go right ahead, Ricardo, if you can put that, yeah, off you go then.
Thank you. So about our overview of the green hydrogen industry in Chile, my colleagues said a lot, so I'm going to be brief. But first, I would like to introduce our association. Our association brings together corporations and also professional members. As you can see here, not all of the companies that belong to H2 Chile are represented here. They belong to the whole across the supply chain for the hydrogen. And also we have our professional members. Most of them are the founders of this association. So they contribute in different aspects to the association and to the industry. What we do, first, our mission is to accelerate the adoption of renewable hydrogen and its derivatives in our society by promoting public and private collaboration. So we work in 5 strategic pillars. The first one is we work very close with the government. So some of our work is to collaborate in the creation of public policies. Also, it's important to find financing for the projects. We are in contact with different multilateral banks, different regions, including the European Union, and also private institutions, private banks, and other investment companies. Also, it's important to take the technical aspect of the project. So our members of the association, most of them are very skilled and have a lot of experience and knowledge in different aspects. So there is an interesting collaboration among us, and we are learning periodically about the different aspects of the green hydrogen, new discoveries and new knowledge that it's available. Also, it's important to promote people awareness. I think that the government and the private sector have done a very good work in that, but never it's enough. We need to bring hydrogen and the benefits of hydrogen to most of the people. We are a very spread country, so we need to talk in local terms too, and that is a challenge. And also to build capacity and to train the future workers and professionals for this industry. And finally, to create and to promote collaboration networks in the country, but also internationally. There's a lot to do there, and we have been present in different events and other networks and meetings with different countries and regions. So we are contributing with them, and we are finding that we share similar challenges in different aspects. So in terms of overview in our country about green hydrogen, I think that most have been said, but basically highlight that in the north we have the best radiation in the world. Probably other spots are similar, but here in Chile we have some benefits and advantages. We are also very close to the coast, so that's helped us in terms of reducing costs. The central part of Chile, it's where most of the industries are, and we have a high demand in terms of populations. Some people from Antofagasta are going to say, oh, we have an important presence of industry. That's totally right, because our mining industry is located in the north. And in the Chilean Patagonia, we have a very good wind energy resources. I don't know, I was recently, last week in Punta Arenas and the Magellan region, and the wind is really strong, but it's a beautiful place, and there's a lot of challenges there too. Here, this is a slide with a lot of information, but basically what we would like to highlight here, that of course the production of hydrogen, green hydrogen, is very important, but also there is present different energy vectors and derivatives from the hydrogen, and using different sources of energy. Some projects are directly to be used for the internal demand, and others are expected to export hydrogen, ammonia mostly, to different markets. And about the policies that are helping the industry, the green hydrogen industry in Chile, we as a private sector, we see a lot of commitment from the government. It's very encouraging to work with them. We are in a coal phase out by 2040 for the fossil fuels generators. The climate change law give us a very strict target to be in balance with the rest of the world in the same goal. Ana Maria mentioned the creation of the Green Hydrogen Committee of Corfo. This is an inédit effort bringing together different ministries. Also, there is an agency, public and private agency, that promotes energy efficiency, and now it's expanding his spectrum, working now also in green hydrogen. So they are financing and accelerating pilot projects. Also, public land, it's important to develop projects, and here we have the Ministry of Public Lands supporting the industry, and also the Ministry of Transportation. It's working in a pilot for a fuel cells bus for the metropolitan network of buses. So the support from the government is trying to cover different applications. And about challenges, my colleague said some challenges. What we can say from our perspective, we can group the challenges in 3 different groups. One is regulation and governance. In addition to legal certainty permits, there is also some certifications and some, not regulations, but frameworks that we need to reach and accomplish and be in compliance with from different regions. Educations, community, and R&D, very important, working with the universities and other institutions that are in charge of training human capital, and also technological aspects. The availability of equipment is something that it's very important and challenging. In these terms, we can say that we compete with other large companies and other projects that are demanding huge amounts of different equipment. And other aspects about storage, the use of strategic infrastructure, among other challenges. So this is a big overview, and this is what we are trying to do and what are the challenges, but also the opportunities.
Thank you very much, Ricardo. Once again, I think that after the two presentations, I think everyone has a very clear understanding of, not only where are the opportunities for Chile, because I think it was really clear that wind is great, the wind resource is great, solar resource is the best in the world. But there is now the challenges. We mentioned the challenges, but we didn't go into them into a lot of detail. So the first question that I have for you, and I'm going to let you guys take the questions, whichever you want, and then take it from there. Let's talk first about the issues with permitting, which is everything that has got to do with the paperwork associated with developing a project. There are clear challenges in the permitting process. How are they being resolved? What are the specific challenges for developers, and what are the institutions doing at the national and regional and local levels to overcome them? So shall I start with you, Ricardo? I know that you just spoken, but if I start with you, because this is a very like multifaceted question. It's like, what are the issues right now with permitting? How are they being overcome? What are the institutions what are the institutions doing? So you get us started, and then perhaps we can actually throw the ball to Ana Maria and Marcelo as well to continue. Go for it.
Sure. Yes, definitely it's not an easy question, and projects at this point are working in that, sending or taking studies, environmental studies, for example, and applying for different permits. Some of them say, or probably most of them say, that it takes a lot of time in comparison with other countries. But also it's an explanation. I think that we are seeing that the projects are definitely more complex than other projects that we are used to. We usually, or the government bodies that are in charge of permitting are most used to renewable energy projects, but here you have a renewable energy project, you have the plants for production of hydrogen, so it's a very long supply chain and they need to learn about that. So first projects are like the ones that are facing all the challenges, and probably when our government bodies and regulators are more into how the industry works and what are the safety aspect and other aspect that they need to be to consider, probably this is going to be more faster. And also some projects, it will be more beneficial if you have only one entry point to apply for oral permits, and then you have an answer, and also certainty about the times. Sometimes because of lack of resources, permits take longer than are expected. So for the projects to expand the time more than it is, I don't know, it's study, or for the investors to have it, because if you start a project, the interest and other charges are gonna be taken, no matter if the permits take longer than you expect. So that in terms of planning a project, it's also complicated.
Completely agree. Ana Maria, did you want to initiate? What are you guys doing on the side of the institutions?
I would like to remember that not all the projects are the same. We have projects in the north part, Antofagasta is more an industrial and mining region, that Magallanes, that is more natural region with tourism and ecosystem that have not been touched by the man. So they are different. Also, talking about the scale of the project are different. If you have a project, for example, in a refinery, changing gray hydrogen for green hydrogen, probably the permits are easier than if you have a 10-gigawatt project in Magallanes. So it's different. What we are doing as a new green hydrogen committee, we are working in 2 new instruments, more than Ricardo said about the normal evaluation system that we have, is concerning to early participation. We would like to invite to the projects to have a new tool that is an early participation, thinking that the project could be discussed before to be applied to the environmental system. And another tool that we are working on is a kind of sensibility map. This is a map of a complete region with red areas that we know that could be sensible from the point of view of the biodiversity or from the social issues, and some areas that could be orange and some areas that could be green, in order that the companies could know quite well where are they going to define their sites. So if you could suggest more tools that facilitate that, or are welcome. And also to remember that the Green Hydrogen Committee is an interministerial committee with 11 ministers, that the idea is to have very good coordination in between the different ministries and services, public service.
Ana Maria, when will these tools be available, or are they going to be available through the year?
The early participation tool is just available. And we hope to have this first version of sensibility map at the end of this year, probably most at the in the first quarter of the next year.
Excellent, thank you. I was wondering, Marcelo, do you want to add something here? Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, of course. I used to work on that. I was actually working on the environmental side of the projects, giving consultancy on that, and this is why I know a lot about the problems and the issues that we have in Chile. We obviously need to accelerate the process because the projects need certainty and we need to do it faster. But taking care about the process is important to take care about the population, the society, the territories. And this is why this early approximation that was telling us Ana Maria is really important. We need to be really transparent with the society in order to make things happen. This is something that is not only going on in Chile. Europe have the same problem. They need to be more, to accelerate the process for the whole process, because the permits are something that is really important to take care about the environmental issues. And if you accelerate the process, obviously the society are going to say, yeah, but you are going to start building projects without my consent. And this is something really tricky. We need to do it faster, but taking care or taking care about sustainability issues, taking care about the ecological and socio-ambiental issues. And it's really important for this particular government to do things in another way, because we have a lot of projects in the north, as Ana Maria said. We have in the north the desert, mining companies, a lot of space, and in the south we have the beauty of the Patagonia, and it's really important to take care about this. We are talking about gigawatt projects, and obviously it's not going to be easy to manage the permits. But a big but, we can also do something for the projects. We can have common infrastructure. And this is an issue that we need to approach from the government side. To speak with the developers, right now, if you see the projects, we have several ports, several infrastructure, and we are not going to use this infrastructure. We need only one big port or maybe one big ammonia factory and not several. And I think that these kind of solutions are going to be discussed internally in this interministerial committee and with the companies and with the communities. I think that the local government and the regional governors are going to take to play a really key role on that. And the willing are from both sides. Now we have this problem, we need to face it. And if we want together to build this industry, we need to find a solution.
Thank you very much, Marcelo. You actually answered one of the questions that we had about infrastructure, because I think it is a big deal, and it's something that needs to be paid attention to. So I'm glad that you answered it, that, it's currently being looked at, because it's a big question mark right now.
Yeah, it's important, and we are working on that. I was in January in Chile together with the Port of Rotterdam, and with one delegation that were obviously focused on port infrastructure. We discussed with the projects, with the developers, about what is needed, what we have, what we don't have, and how can we achieve what we are going to use to export the hydrogen or ammonia methanol. This is something that is happening right now. We are taking care, we are talking with the industry, not only the local one, also the international one, because if we are going to send products, someone needs to receive the product. And this is how this whole value chain is going to be built.
Yeah, this is the issue. Normally you make products that fit into a value chain. Now we're building the products and the value chain. Exactly. It's so much harder, but it's not only for Chile, it's just everywhere. Okay, I wanted to discuss, I'm aware that we don't have a lot of time. We're going to go over a little bit, I think, guys. But what I wanted to ask is this $1.5, which is somewhere between 2025 and 2030, which is like kind of the target in the hydrogen route. It's very aggressive. I mean, now, we hear so many crazy things every other day, that especially because gray hydrogen is so expensive, maybe, things are slightly different. But the bottom line is that this is very aggressive indeed. And I wonder, first of all, Ricardo, do you think this price is realistic and achievable? And what needs to happen for it to be achieved? And, what are we doing to make sure that we get to this target?
It's not an easy question. But on the association, we are very optimistic. We can predict the future, of course, but I think that there are some challenges in terms of how we can reach the costs, transmission costs, for example, or the backup power too, are some of the costs, because electricity, as everyone knows, it's the most important part in terms of the cost. So if we are able to manage that, that will be a huge step to reach that goal that we have as a country, we can say. But also there are some opportunities, of course, in terms of the factor plant of our energy sources, but it's an advantage. So I think that making that combination working for the projects, I think that it's a doable goal that we can reach. I don't know when we are trying to reach that 2030. It's gonna be.
It's before 2030, to be fair. Like 2030, you have to have 25 gigawatts just before you've got the 1.5.
You're right. It's 2025. But also, I think that the international evidence can help too, because there are other countries that are trying to reach very low prices. So also we can learn from them too.
That was another question. There is a question here that was raised that was like, okay, this 1.5, did you calculate it as like in the hydrogen being produced, the LCOH, or did you also account for transportation of this hydrogen?
Sorry, Belen. According to the last question, for having $1.5 by kilo of hydrogen, we need at least $30 by megawatt hour of cost of electricity. And we have an internal discussion here. It's just the cost of transmission, but also the cost of connection. So what we are going to see in the next years, off-grid large plants or on-grid large plants. So it's a technical issue if it is possible to have so many of 25 gigawatts or 30 gigawatts of off-grid power plants. We will see really it's a very important challenge on that. And the companies, H2 Chile, are asking to the government to have subsidies in transmission costs, for example, or the other issue, it could be to options that the hydrogen power plants could provide service, complementary service to the grid. And we will see what is going to happen there. But it's a challenge, by choice. Also, in the scenario of the decarbonization, we have a coal plant, the commissioning, and if we are be able to supply that power from renewable energy or not at time. If not, probably the diesel power plant that are connected to the central system, we have 3 gigawatts of diesel connected to that actually are selling just power. But if we're not able to have enough renewable energy connected to the grid, probably the electricity price are going to be are rising. So we will see what happens. We are in the middle of the internal discussion and the middle of the commercial development of the renewable power plants.
Thank you very much for that clarification.
We have very interesting studies on that, but we're working on that.
Okay, so we're still like firm on this 1.5.
Yeah. But taking account that these prices are not saying from us, it is actually the information that we took from the studies, McKinsey and other studies. And
the International Energy Agency.
Exactly. And in any case, if we are going to have problems, the other countries are going to have the same problems. And at the end, it's going to be, which country can offer the best price? Maybe it's not going to be 1.5, maybe it's going to be $2, but I think, and I am convinced that our potential showed now that we can achieve the best price. And we started, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, Marcelo, and the other question is, we need to achieve $1.5 by kilo of hydrogen, considering the current prices of energy in Europe by now, or the current price of ammonia, and how many years the price of ammonia and the price of fossil fuels are going to be high, which is our baseline for comparing the issues of competitiveness.
And we can't use fossil fuels anymore. We agree on that, and we need to move to a green or clean energy. And this is why we think that, maybe it's going to be difficult. Maybe we are going to face a lot of challenges, but the energy that we provide in Chile, the electricity, is already really cheap. And you can see the projects there. And this is something that is really important when you are talking about producing hydrogen. The other cost, water generation, or maybe the transport, is not an issue. We are using ships right now to transport gas and oil from other countries, and it's not an issue. And by now, it's an issue of security also. To have energy and to have local renewable fuels is an issue of energy security for our country in the international scenario. Geopolitics is very interesting for me.
Yeah, and curtailment, there's a lot of things to consider there. Okay, let's move on to the next question, if I may, because I think it's a very important one. Is one that is also been asked in the questions, and what happens in terms of the supply chain? It's not an easy supply chain out there. I wanted to add, we had here 2 different questions, but I want to join them because I think they're kind of joined together. There is an issue with supply chain because all the countries want to have a lot of capacity very quickly, and there is not capacity for electrolyzers and other parts. But also, very recently, the Inflation Reduction Act has been announced in the US, which gives a direct subsidy for green hydrogen or for zero carbon hydrogen, which suggests that actually in the next few months, we're going to see like a focus going into that market. Just to clarify, I think that long-term, hydrogen is going to be very cheap. I think that long-term, is going to be, we're going to have a lot of cheap green hydrogen, a lot of cheap components. The problem is, in the next sort of few months and few years, so how do you see resolving this issue with the supply chain, particularly in terms of the impact that this the Inflation Reduction Act or IRA is going to have in the market. So I don't know who wants to take it first.
From Corpo side or the Green Hydrogen Committee side, we are looking for electrolyzer producers that could be interested in install their production here in Chile. But it's necessary for them to guarantee the demand of electrolyzers. By now, with the project, with the signed contract that we have as Corpo, we could ensure just 400 megawatts of electrolyzers that are not all demand, because most of the companies came with their own electrolyzer manufacturers. You know, the alliance in between Linde and ITM Power and so on. And so it's a challenge for us. Our dream is to have here the possibility to manufacture electrolyzer, and we are working on that. So we hope to be successful on that, but it's a challenge, for sure.
Yes.
Who wants to add here? Okay, go Ricardo.
I think that here are 2 points that can be something positive. Basically, globalization is something that can help in these terms, first in terms of competition, open markets, because yes, you can have American, European, Japanese, or other countries producers of equipment, but there's going to be competence in that terms, and they are looking for new markets, and we have seen some of these companies reaching us, and they're very interested. So there are different opportunities. Probably now we have a bottleneck, but we can say the next year or after that, you can see more availability of equipments. And also some of the projects, again, in terms of globalization and in terms of there is nobody that is making a project, doing a project alone. There's a consortium, different companies working together, and most of these companies are global, and they are not dealing with for only one market. They are dealing for different markets. Let's say an international mining company, it's not something that they are trying to find specific equipment for the project in Chile. They are a bigger negotiating power, so that it's also something that help us in terms of that availability. But still, in the short term, that is a difficulty at the moment.
And Belén, something that is really important to take in account, this is like to see the same movie again, but faster, because the renewable movement started in Europe and other countries, and then moved to countries like Chile. They didn't start in countries with a solar radiation or the best winds of the world. If you see what you have in Spain is something that maybe started 10 years ago, is the same level that we have now in Chile. And in this case, we need to go faster. And I am really sure that this development is going to start in developing countries, in the US, also in China, in Europe, because here's the money. And always when I talk with the main companies, they say to me, okay, first of all, we are going to build the projects here in Europe, because we have some problems in Port of Rotterdam, in Hamburg, in Ambert. We are going to build there because we need to use the hydrogen here. It's easier because you don't need to develop the chip. We have several connections. We can, with the pipelines, with the current pipelines, we can use it and transport the hydrogen directly to the refineries and other companies. The steel company, for instance, and other really intense energy consumer companies. And after that, they are going to go to other countries. The problem right now is the goals, the European goals, and the goals from all the countries are really aggressive, more aggressive than our goals. And they want to import a lot of hydrogen. They know that the price is not going to be well here in Europe. The price is also one issue. The other issue is they need a huge volume. They need also hydrogen and buy energy from other countries. And this is why the investment decision needs to be taken in our countries before they think right now, because we can wait a lot. We need to start building the projects maybe in 2 years from now, 3 years from now, not to wait until the projects are ready here and they prove the technology, they prove that actually the price is going down, because the world is not waiting us. If we agree, we can maybe change the targets, but the targets that we have seen and that we are seeing every day are the same. And this is why I think that, okay, first of all, they are going to start here, but maybe in 1-2 years, they need to develop infrastructure and also electrolyzer for the other places in the world.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, we're going fast, right? Like we're starting to believe that infrastructure is like tech almost. Like it can be like deployed like that, and it cannot. I mean, Ricardo is saying that in 2 years, you know, the supply chains will be a little more loose. 2 years is a long time when we're thinking in 2025 to have 1.5. You know, this is my point. You know, it's like, when did we decide, you know, that this kind of fast approach to everything was the best approach or the only approach? I don't know about that. Anyway, I just wanted to bring a little bit of but I agree, and in Europe is the same, because turns out that after 40 years of dependence of Russian oil or gas, sorry, all of a sudden they realized this was a good idea. Like we didn't know, you know, 40 years ago. One of those situations, guys, that, you know, when you know, the time comes, we're just not very good at seeing the problems, you know, approached, I think, as the human race. So then we have to, like, we see like fixing the problems as we go along and as they already hit us. So last question, because I know we're out of time, and I'm going to combine them all. So, you know, just to make your job a little bit harder. You know, we wanted to discuss about building a local skill set for hydrogen. We wanted to talk about overcoming issues with water, you know, with lack of water in Chile. And we also wanted to talk about ESG and the local impact, whether it's environmental, you know, social and governance issues when it comes to hydrogen. There are a lot of things in here. And in Chile, especially, you know, something that we need to take care of, you know, as project developers, to make sure that the local impact, the environmental impact is being very well established, looked at, and, you know, worked on, so that this is not as high. So how do you see these challenges being overcome in the next few months and years, perhaps? I mean, we're in 2022. I want to remind people, it's 3 years to 2025, you know? So we have a lot to do in little time. So Marcelo, you go first, because clearly,
sorry,
you go.
I would like to go first because I need to leave. I have another meeting now.
Go. Yeah, we're finishing. Go on.
Just to say that at least the project that we have contract signed, we asked for desalination plants, and all the water probably is going to come from desalination. That is not the total solution, because desalination also have challenges concerning the marine ecosystems. So, but we will see that, and we need to work on that, on all of that. Really, the challenges, especially in the Magallanes region, are very important, and also an opportunity for us to know our natural ecosystem that we have not studied in deep. So it's a very good opportunity to have recognize the value of our natural ecosystems. And the society at the end need to have in the balance what are the negative impacts of this new industry and the positive impacts. How many new jobs are going to be created? How much is the contribution to the GDP? So we need to have very clear the balance of the positive impacts and the negative impacts, and the society, not the government, not the companies, need to make this decision. Is that personal point of view? Thank you very much, and I apologize, but I need to leave.
Thank you very much, Ana Maria. And we literally answer this question, and you guys can go as well. I know you're busy. So Marcelo, you want to go next? And thank you, Ana Maria. We'll see you next time. We'll see you in RENMAD. By the way, that I'm going to give you a little bit about RENMAD, so I'll see you there.
Okay.
Marcelo?
Thank you. I am really interested in this topic in particular because this is what is really inspiring me, because I am convinced that we can do better, that we can build project without an impact. We can include the people on the project to empower the local governments, to empower the people. I think that it's really important to take care about the environmental issues, but also about the social issues, to give more money to the communities, to the development of the cities, of the territories. I think that this is really something that we need to use, because we are talking about $1 billion. We are talking about gigawatt projects, and we can build those projects with better standards, with high quality standards, and to think about what is happening there. For in my discussions with companies, they don't have a problem with that. It's actually something that you put onto the capex, into the capex. You need certainty. If the project is going to cost X dollars, this is what the investors need to hear. It's not about what they are going to pay and what they are going not to pay. I think that we need to be clear to them, to include them in the development of the country. This is a huge opportunity for us to go further together and to understand better what is going on in our country and how to build a better country.
Thank you very much, Marcelo. And Ricardo, I ask you, when you hear that, are you hearing cha-ching, 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 your cost going up? Because it's beautiful. I mean, I love it, but there is also the cost part of this. So how are you guys approaching it from the industry side?
Oh, so you ask, now you're asking 4 questions, so I'm gonna try to answer.
Fair enough.
No, yes, but you have a focus in terms of the cost, and all of the questions that you have made are running at the same time. So the projects are working in those different aspects simultaneously. And also there are some incentives from the government that are helping to reach that goal before the expected. And in terms of water, yes, I can reinforce that most of the water, or probably all of the water, it's going to be from desalination. We are facing a water scarcity. That is our problem as a country about the climate change impacts. There are not floods, it's water scarcity. And about local capacity, and I think that it's intertwined with the ESG challenges, because I've been in different regions, talking with communities, with the projects, with the government, and what is one of my main visions, it's the total, the concern of the people about what it's gonna be left for the region. We have an history of different companies and industries operating in the country, some of them with very good results and a lot of opportunities for the people and taking care of environmental issues, and other, unfortunately, not. So always people, it's not necessarily believe some of the promises. So the challenge for the project is to work a lot with the people, be in touch with them, a lot of dialogue, participation, and also understanding very well the local aspects on the local requests from people. They're totally different from in the north part of Chile from to the south. So you need to consider that, how you and basically to everybody have the same information, or have a profound discussion in terms of the impacts and what is expected for the future. Most of the people ask for the typical but big questions. How this gonna impact my daily life? If I'm gonna see a lot of transportation of equipments, can I drive? I'm gonna be jam. I'm gonna be in the middle of a traffic jam every day or not? So these impacts need to be addressed for the company, for the government, and for the industry. And finally, one of the main challenges here is how we coordinate the companies, because companies, as I talk with them, they are very oriented, they're very careful about their local impacts, but usually these demands came from a regional level, not necessarily like a local level. So that's an interesting challenge most of the companies are talking about that. They are trying to be organized, but also they have these different challenges to need to work in that. So again, I'm optimistic. I think that there are a lot of solutions, but we need to talk more, be in connection with people, not forget that even when we are trying to have a global benefit, we need to consider the local impacts.
Yeah, and even when you're decarbonizing, doesn't mean that the local community is better off for it directly, because the impacts of the project could be really big. So thank you very much, Marcelo and Ricardo, and of course, Ana Maria. Highly appreciated your time to talk about this issue. My takeaway from this is that there are so many challenges in this specific market, but I'm not talking about Chile now, I'm talking about hydrogen. I think the challenges are like just very similar in very many different places. And, you know, aside from being able to give certainty specifically in a point, like is the case of the US now with the Inflation Reduction Act, so many other issues, you know, are still to be defined. Very much so, because we're building a market, we're not just building a project. And this means that infrastructure is part of it, transport is part of it, so many items that we need to be resolved. The one thing I'd say to people looking at the Chilean market, you know, as an option to invest and to have opportunities on that, what I see here coming from the outside is a lot of political will and private companies' will to have a discussion, which is not something that is very common, I have to say. And to speak about, you know, the realities of things. You know, it's rare in a market that you speak about prices, you approach this in an honest manner. You know, you may not have all the answers. You know, no one here is claiming to have all the answers, because I don't think anyone does. You know, the problem is the solutions are so global that it's hard to, but I think I'm always seeing that at least there is the willingness to have a discussion, which is always good. And I just wanted to mention, you know, to everyone that this is part of a much wider conversation from ATI Insights and RENMAD. We have an event in Chile, which is called RENMAD H2 Chile, that I will invite all of you to attend and participate. I'm going to ask my colleagues to leave like a link there in case you haven't seen it, but in any case, we'll send you information. It's in October, and the 6th and the 7th, and all of the people that you've seen here today are going to be there, or at least the institutions. Ricardo hopefully will be there, but certainly ProChile will be there, H2 Chile will be there, Corfu will be there, the Ministry of Energy will be there. All of the main companies that you've seen in the presentations, they'll be there. So I think it's important that we are going with this discussion, and it's important also to realize that even though we are not in the 1.5 yet, there are a lot of projects that are currently ongoing, that are going through the permitting process, that are actually money is being invested in them. Many of them are being built already. So it's easy to see how the marketing is gearing up to get into that sort of size where it can grow quickly. So without further ado, thanks once again, Marcelo. Thanks once again, Ricardo. And also thank you to Ana Maria, who had to leave already. And thank you to all of you who are in the audience. We'll see you next time. You know, if you speak Spanish, we have another webinar next Thursday about one specific project, the NIX project, that is willing to transform all of the gray ammonia that they are currently importing, and we're talking about many tons, into green ammonia produced locally in Chile. And this is on Thursday if you want to join. And otherwise, I hope to see you all in Santiago on the 6th and 7th of October to discuss with these people face-to-face about this really interesting industry. Thank you very much, and see you soon. Bye. Bye.